I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as your Honorable Lily Kavanaugh gives our invocation.
Almighty God, we acknowledge that you will hold us to account for the way we legislate and administer the affairs of our township and its fine people. We pray for your guidance as we do so. We pray that you would find us protecting the rights of all at all times, that our community and this nation will fulfill all of your purposes. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. We lost a couple of good people this past week. One of them was Cindy Doyle. She passed away March the 18th due to health issues. Cindy grew up in Redford. She graduated from St. Agatha High School in Redford. She then attended Michigan State University, where she earned her bachelor's degree. Upon graduation, she was hired by Redford's 17th District Court. She served as a probation officer in the court until her retirement. She was very involved in the community, most notably her dedication to the Redford Goodfellows Association. That's probably where most of you may have known her from. She donated hundreds of hours every year for well over 30 years. Her assistance and knowledge was critical to allow the Goodfellows to ensure that no child went without a Christmas. And our former trustee, Jay Johnson, just lost his father today. So please keep both of them and anybody else that you know that has passed in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. All right. Clerk Sanders, please take the roll.
Clerk Sanders here. Trustee King.
Here.
Trustee Taylor.
Here.
Trustee Reese.
Here.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Here.
Supervisor McCray.
Here, form is present. All right. Next is the approval of the agenda.
To the chair,
Trustee Taylor.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Clerk Sanders.
Before we approve the agenda, I look to remove item number 5 from the agenda.
Any discussion?
5 under consent or 5 under new business?
5 under consent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Support with the modifications.
Okay, it's been supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have citizen comments. And the first one is Lawrence Walker, the second. Please go up to the mic, give your name and address, sir.
Good evening, all. My name is Lawrence Walker II. My address is 18676 Woodworth, Redford, Michigan, 48240.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Sure, sir.
Say
The
that-
floor is yours. This is the listening exercise. We listen to anything you got to say for 3 minutes. So you're
Okay, perfect. So I sent this email to all of you guys, and I haven't, on March 15th, I haven't got a response back yet, I don't believe. But it's concerning the water quality, and in short, a summer ago, maybe 2 summers ago, the water department was at the house. They drew a line from my yard to across the street. I just happened to ask what was going on, and they said they were going to replace the water pipes across the street. And they said maybe next year, this year, on my side of the street. So that was in the summertime. In November, my water started turning gray, my cold water. I even asked my neighbor, he showed me his was gray. My hot water was turning brown, so he told me I should flush my water heater. I did that for hot water heater. I flushed it a couple of times that day. And now, about a week ago, it sprung a leak. Now that water heater, it'll be 4 years old, June 17th. So my plumber came back out and said, is the water coming into the house turning my water gray? And that was messing up my water heater. Not to mention, I had to get a new washer earlier this year as well, and I'm just concerned if that has something to do with that. But I did send each of you guys up there an email, and I haven't got a response back. I can read the email if you like. Would you like me to read the email? I'll read it real quick.
You can, as long as you do it within a minute and 25, I'm good.
Okay, so here we go. Let's put the timer on.
Yep.
To whom it may concern, I am writing you today to report a potentially significant public health concern regarding water quality in Redford Township, Michigan, and its devastating impact on residents' homes and appliances. For approximately 2 summers, residents in my neighborhood have been aware of planned water pipe replacements with lines marked by the water department. However, this is yet to be completed. In the interim, we are experiencing alarming water quality issues. Significantly, my cold water supply is frequently discolored, appearing gray. My neighbor has confirmed experiencing the same problem. This suggests a widespread issue within our immediate area. The consequences of this poor water quality are now manifesting in premature appliance failures. I replaced my hot water tank in July of 2020. Last year, my hot water turned brown, requiring a flush. Now my tank is leaking from the bottom, and I'm being told it needs to be replaced despite being less than 4 years old. I strongly believe that the premature failure of my hot water tank is a direct result of the poor water quality and delayed water pipe replacement project. The discolored water and likely sediment buildup are causing accelerated corrosion and damage. This situation raises serious concerns about the health and safety of residents as well as the financial burden of replacing damaged appliances. I believe this issue warrants an investigation. So that's about it. I need that to be investigated. And also, I have grandkids, you know. I got 4 grandkids, all under the age of 5 years old, and I'm not sure if that water is contaminated or what the issue was. I called the office the other day here, and they asked me, did somebody come out and do a lead pipe check on the outside of the house? I said, I can't recall. I believe they did. And they said that, because actually they dug a hole in my yard on the city side of the sidewalk one year, and they never really leveled it back. It's kind of rutted right there. And I asked them, what was that for? And they said, we'll come back later on in the year and patch that up when we replace the pipe. I think that's been 2 years now. That hasn't been done yet. So I'm just concerned about the situation. If anybody can give me any information, that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walker. Next is, I can read the name Rodriguez.
Danilo. Carvalho, right?
Pardon me?
Carvalho, C-A-R, the last name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please, and forgive me.
No, that's fine, no problem.
So give your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, I'm Danilo. Good evening, everyone. I'm Danilo Carvalho, 14147 Breakfast Drive. Right for me, for H239. All right, so yes, so I moved here it's gonna be a year now. I used to live in DC area. So I bought this house here, and when I moved here, my tax was so high already. My condo there is the same price of my house here in Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, which is one of the richest county in the nation. And my tax there is $2,300 per year. My moving here was $5,000. My house is only 1,100 square feet, like 1-floor house for a single guy. So I was okay, it's $5,000 double, but it is what it is. This year I received a letter saying it's gonna go all the way up to $7,300. It is $600 per month. It's like a rent. And I have to be honest, no offense, I don't see anything, we're not getting anything back here in Redford. I moved here like a year ago. I see the streets are not the best. I don't see any advantage for the city to charge so much taxes. And I saw on Facebook, everybody was complaining too. Somebody posted something, everybody was complaining. So I think the population needs answers why it is so high. It's one of the highest mills in the nation. And somebody said they voted for it, but as I saw on the Facebook, everybody was complaining. So I don't know who voted. It's not because it was voted we have to say amen and just be sitting and allow you guys to do whatever you want with all due respect with our money, because it's a lot of money, $7,300 for a 1-floor house. And I had a problem, I didn't have street lights. I just had one street light. By my house, they put another one. A month later, it went off. So we worked a couple months in the dark, no lights. So I went to Facebook to ask, because I don't know, like, who can help me? And guess what? It was my HOA. So on top of the taxes, I pay HOA for simple things that I was expecting from the city, and I have to pay more money for the lights. So I just think like we need to review this tax. This mills is one of the most expensive in the area. I have friends in Novi, in Orchard Lake. I think it's Orchard Lake, right? They have houses 3 times more expensive than my house, and they pay much less than I'm paying now. So I'm just like, and I'm a financial advisor. I think we need to be on top of that and being like supervising and see what is happening, what you guys are doing with the money, and why we are paying so much comparing to everyone. I mean, all other cities around this area here.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That concludes our citizen comments. Next, we have our special presentation from Director Michael Dennis for the Festival Committee.
Mr. Supervisor, Honorable Board, I was asked to attend tonight's meeting to talk to you about the Festival Committee here in Redford Township. As many of you know, the committee are based on of all volunteers that put in plenty of time, especially in June and October and during the holidays, with our 3 community events. One is our Redford Township Festival, which will be held this year from June 12th through the 15th at Bell Creek Park. And don't forget, we also have fireworks on, this year will be on Friday the 13th.
Oh,
So we're going to have a great time. Then also, we do have our Oktoberfest, our fall festival, which this year will be held on September 20th from 6 to 11, and September 21st, Friday and Saturday, from 1 to 11, which is out here in our parking lot. It's a great event. We've been having it for close to, I think, 20 years now out here, and we have a lot of fun out here with the fall festival. Lastly, we have the old-fashioned holidays at the marquee across the hall, or across the parking lot. This year it is Thursday, December 4th. It is always the first Thursday of the month in December. That runs from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And if you've ever been out there, it's a great time. Santa Claus, the carriage rides, crafts, food, you name it, it's a great time. I want to give a big shout out to the volunteers. If it wasn't for the volunteers, we would not have community festivals. I know Nancy's here and Kathy's here. Not sure, and Michelle Mancini's here. Yep, I saw her back there. I was pointing at her. And I apologize if anybody else is here. They do just one great job. It is a team effort. There are now 12 of us on the committee. From top to bottom, everyone, takes a chore, has fun. During the festival, it's obviously some years it's 90 degrees out there and it's quite warm, and it's drinking a lot of water and having a blast. Oktoberfest, cooking. My primarily been cooking lately, and as some of you see me, my hair and my arms get a little burnt from the barbecue, and then Christmas. So they do a great job, and they deserve all the credit, because again, I'll say it again, it wasn't for the volunteers. And shout out to South Redford School District that helps us with the buses and Dollar Ride, and lastly is our corporate sponsors. If we did not have corporate sponsorship, we would not be doing our festivals. There is no Redford Township funding being allocated to Oktoberfest and our festival and fireworks. It's all corporate donated funding. And if it wasn't for that, we would not be doing what we're doing today. The township doesn't allocate any dollars to these festivals, and we work our tail off getting these dollars for our community events. And it's down from, there's even residents or businesses that give $100, that range from higher amounts. So if it wasn't for our sponsors, we would not be doing this today. And it's a fun time. I hope people will start joining us. out there. Again, it's Thursday, this coming June. Weather's going to be splendid. But we hope it every year. I'll already, predict it, but it's a fun time. Family-oriented. We're always trying new things. But everything that we do inside the tent area is free of charge. Everything that's out here at Oktoberfest, I would say 9 out of 10 items is free of charge. There might be some small fees for some special event items, but other than that, other than the rides, everything we do over in our tent area is free of charge. So I just wanted to bring that up this year. Everyone's working hard, and if there's any questions.
Questions on the board? Well, all I know is that it takes a lot of work. If you're at town hall and you leave out of here, they're out there working, setting up, and after everything is done, everybody's gone home and had a great time. They're out there working their tails off to get everything put away and get things like it never happened, so.
One day cleanup, sir. One
Yep,
day.
One day, and I can't say enough about it, and I know that Trustee Taylor goes and volunteers over at the festival, and others have. I think it's they have community events so that everybody can get together and get to know their neighbors and their electeds and everybody that's here, because we all live in the same township, no matter where we're sitting in this room, so.
We have great fireworks. The fireworks are great.
Fireworks are great.
23 minutes.
Yes.
Guy who pays the bill, I've been told, write the check, that knows what, how much we spend per minute, so. But, yes, so.
And it's covered by somebody that.
So it's all, yes, I'm just, yes.
So it doesn't matter how much they pay a minute, as long as it's not us.
100%, yes.
So,
Yes.
okay, any other questions? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Dennis, or
Thanks,
Director
Mike.
Dennis.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thank them.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks,
Thank
Nancy.
you, thank the
Thanks,
festival
Michelle.
committee, yes. Next is the consent agenda, Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Supervisor McCray. I move to approve the consent agenda items as follows. The minutes for the regular meeting of March 11th of 2025. Warrant list of bills as of March 18th of 2025 in the amount of $1,409,829.65. The reappointment of Fenella Felton to the Redford Township Beautification Commission, term expiring 3/25 of 2026. The reappointment of John Kuba to the Redford Township Police and Fire Pension Board, term expiring 3/31 of 2028. Support.
It's been moved and supported, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we move into new business, and that would be new business number 1, and that would be Director Dennis and his team.
Supervisor, honorable board. Today is the first of a handful of meetings we'll be having over the next few months, coming down to the final steps of this process that this township, the board, has been working on for many, many years. So just a quick, synopsis. The township back in 2024 approved a ordinance for marijuana establishments and zoning change. And we accepted applications in late 2023, a lot of dates. And we've gone through the applications, and the applicants that were approved, that were authorized, preliminary authorized to move forward based on many different factors, then move forward to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission even held special meetings so we can push this through in regards to a meeting every 2 weeks for almost two to 3 months. In front of you today is a handful that have gone through through the first phase. So the first one is we did have one application for a marijuana grow facility, and this facility will be located at 12217 Woodbine. The applicant did present their information to the Planning Commission. They held a public hearing on February 20th, and after the public hearing was completed and questions were answered, the Planning Commission did make a recommendation to move forward the special use permit that is required for all of the marijuana licensing applicants. So this is the first application in front of you. We did provide lots of paperwork for you. Sorry about that, Clerk Sanders and staff. But there is a letter in there that has been prepared from the Planning Commission from David Allen, our chairperson, that does state that the Planning Commission did hold their public hearing and they're requesting approval for the special use permit to establish a marijuana grow establishment at 12217 Woodbine Street. They, per the special, regulations and rules that affect from our buffers, the overlay districts and things of that nature, this applicant was located in the proper overlay district. It was 1,000 feet from a school buffer, 1,000 feet from a public park, outside 500 feet from a religious institution, 500 feet from a child care institution. I will say that the parcel is also located outside a 50-foot principal residential use buffer, but the Planning Commission did require a 6-foot masonry screening wall that would be located on the backside, which is the west side of this parcel. And it is located 2,500 feet from marijuana retail establishment, and it would is currently located at least 250 feet from another marijuana processor and grow facility that has applied for a legal marijuana license here in Redford. It is, like I stated before, this application was moved by Trustee Taylor, supported by Jennifer Lawson, to approve the recommendation of the Township Board for a special use permit for a marijuana Class C grower's license for application 02-25, is also known as MG-001, Haley Francis, High Life Ventures. If there are any questions, there are two representatives from High Life Ventures. Someone from their team and their architect is here if there are any questions. Haley Francis, their owner, is out of town on vacation, and they are authorized to speak on her behalf.
To the chair.
I just want to make, I just want to make sure that all the applicants that are before us, and we'll talk specifically about the grow, they've met all the criteria that the board worked on and set up all the, what you can and you can't do, and they've met all the criteria.
Yes, they have met all the criteria. There was, and on two of them, there was a portion that was waived that is allowed to under the Planning Commission ordinance, and I'll get to that part.
Okay.
But yes, everything other than that, what would happen after today, just to, since you asked a question, if it was approved today, all the applicants, there are 4 total today, then the next step was they would then go be referred to the site plan review, which is the next normal step in our process.
Thank you. Trustee Taylor.
Mike, just to clarify, you said that you were speaking on this one in particular, the grow. I don't think that there's a requirement, a 2,500-foot buffer requirement for a grow facility from retail.
No, 250 feet. I was just going through the list that it just met all the criteria.
Okay.
That's all I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want, in case
The
there was
very
any
last.
questions or confusion, because I know that there is also retail on Plymouth Road that would cause some confusion if they thought that this was supposed to be distanced from
Yeah,
that.
but it was still far
business.
enough from there too.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to talk about all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Maybe, Mike, can you just explain in short, the special use permit so other people know what this is?
Yeah, under the state, the township, it is for a marijuana license here in Redford Township, you are required to obtain a special use permit under this license, we'll say. It's the same as the same process with a used car lot, tattoo parlor, massage services, et cetera. And under the state law, but also township ordinance, you are required to get the special license for this business. And that's it. It's above and beyond what our normal licenses are.
And if I can just expound upon that a little bit, yes, so the marijuana ordinance that you passed, again, Tony Chubb, Township Attorney, the marijuana ordinance that you passed sets forth 6 standards for that special use permit, and so as this has gone through the process, it was already determined that all the threshold requirements were met, like the setbacks, like Mike referenced, and so the review was then based on the 6 standards in section 6 of 152N, which are that it will, the marijuana facility in the application will not impact surrounding residential neighborhoods, will not provide easy access for, will provide easy access for customers with accessible parking, will be adequately served by utilities with sufficient capacity, and provide a written document from the utility indicating sufficient capacity is available at the site. Corridors and streets have the capacity to accommodate potential increases in traffic volumes. demonstrate a safe and secure environment and uphold the public welfare of the community, and that they will not add unintended or impromptu costs to township and municipal services. And so at the planning, when the planner did their review at the special use permit stage, it was against these 6 standards. Same with the planning commission and the public hearing where the public was allowed to comment. And so those are the standards that you'll be using this evening if adopting the recommendations of the planning commission, which were largely adopting the recommendations of the planner.
And that letter is in your packet as well for each applicant from Jason Smith, who's on vacation this week as well. So,
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
For the expounding of.
but that is, yes, that's
Thank you.
literally in section 6 of the 152.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Through the
thank you.
chair.
Trustee King.
Mr. Dennis.
Yes, sir.
What class is this grow operation? How many?
It was allowed to be, it was recommended for a Class C, which in our ordinance, they choose between a Class A, which is 100 plants, Class B is 500 plants, and Class C is up to 2,000 plants for marijuana growers. It was shared with us that they will be pursuing the Class C license, which is up to 2,000 plants.
Now, how far is this from a residential structure?
Oh, half a mile?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It is in our M2 district.
Okay.
Yeah, per ordinance. Yeah.
Other questions from the board? Hearing no other questions, what's the pleasure of the board?
Through the chair.
Trustee Taylor.
I move that we approve the special use permit for a marijuana grow establishment license for application 02-25MG-001 High Life Ventures at 12217 Woodbine Street, Redford, Michigan, 48239, subject to the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. And I'm writing the extra piece on here. Conditions.
And
Recommended.
if I could ask that it probably in the motion should state that they're a Class C license. So we have it on the record. That it would be a Class C up to 2,000 plants, because we do have it defined by the 3 classes in the ordinance.
So
And that-
special
and that-
use permit for marijuana grower Class C license.
Wouldn't that be covered if it's subject to the conditions recommended by the planning commission?
It
Wouldn't
is,
be
I just,
covered?
since it's the only one that's only results, I bring it up.
I'll accept the friendly amendment.
Okay.
Support amendment.
So the first part of the amendment is subject to the conditions presented by the planning commission,
Recommended by the Planning Commission.
recommended. And by the planning commission, and that was it, or the
That's it.
rest? Pardon me?
Yeah, that's just at the end of the motion.
Yep. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor for the approval of special use permit for marijuana grow establishment license for application 02-25MG001 High Life Ventures at 12217 Woodbine Street, Redford, Michigan 48239, subject to the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission. Is that correct?
We need to add in, as
That's why I was
Director
asking.
Dennis requested, that the marijuana grow establishment Class C license.
Class C license, okay?
Thank you.
So in addition to the recommended, the subject condition recommendation by the planning commission, Class C marijuana license.
Perfect.
Is that
Yep.
along with the second?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Let's,
Trustee King.
can the principal stand up and give us a little something?
Please come to the mic.
How you guys doing today? Andrew Nicolopoulos, 5872 Kenmore Road, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. So What questions?
Yeah, do you do this business in other communities, or is this your first go at it?
This is my first, correct, yes. This is Haley's as well.
Okay. I wanted the discussion so that I just want to be clear.
Yes.
I voted against this. I was the only trustee to vote against it. But you passed the criteria for your application and your license, so
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to vote against you personally. I vote against the concept. I said that Repford wasn't ready for this, and I don't think we are. But I want you to know, and everybody else, that we're going to hold you all to a high level of scrutiny.
Makes sense.
We want you to be good corporate citizens and contribute to our community and not just take from it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I can
sir.
assure you of that.
Anything else from else on the board? Okay, it's good. So there's a motion, it's been read, it's been seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Trustee Reese.
Abstain.
Supervisor McCray.
Yes. Dave,
He can't.
Trustee Reese, you.
I think per Robert's Rules of Orders, you can, but
But you have to get permit, we have to agree that you get to abstain because you have to take a yea or a nay. It's in the Charter Township.
Yeah, I think under the Charter Township Act that it's not permissible to abstain unless there's a direct financial conflict with the proposed item. That's true.
So,
just, you're looking it up, or, I mean, if that's true, then take your guidance. Okay.
yes,
I vote no.
okay. Okay, motion carries. Mr. Dennis, number 2.
One second. The second, from this point forward, these will be retail establishments.
Okay,
So we'll be on the same page on everything. So in front of you is applicant MR-002. Also under Planning Commission, it's considered 04-25. We have an application that was submitted from, I apologize. My paperwork is Nature's Remedy Cannabis, 26629 Plymouth Road. And both Mr. Manju, I know Mr. Manju is here. I'm not sure if anybody else from his team is here, if there are any questions. This went through the same process. They applied, held a meeting, Planning Commission, and after this one, I won't go through this again because it's the same process in regards for the retail. They did held their Planning Commission meeting, public hearing on February 20th, and the Township Planning Commission did make a recommendation to the Township Board for a special use permit for a marijuana retail establishment, Nature's Remedy Cannabis at 2669 Plymouth, dependent upon the meeting conditions in the wage trim letter dated February 17, 2025. The Planning Commission, to note, did waive the 50-foot buffer from the principal residentially zoned building, but did require the 6-foot screening wall required to be built at the rear of the property. So it is discussed here that it is within the ordinance that the Planning Commission may reduce, this distance may be reduced by the Planning Commission where the uniqueness of the property line requires, and that was done on this property. Other than that, this is the second applicant. They met all of the other criteria per the Redford Township ordinance, within all the buffers, all the required buffers and distances.
any questions from the board?
Through the chair.
Trustee King.
Mr. Dennis, I'm sorry. What did you say that the Planning Commission made a concession on?
No, the Planning Commission, under the ordinance, there is a 50-foot buffer, 50 feet, they're supposed to be located from the principal residentially zoned building, whether occupied or not, located here in the township. This distance may be reduced by the Planning Commission where the uniqueness of the property line requires and also they require a 6-foot screening wall must be built to the rear of any C2 or industrial property.
Okay.
This property here was within the 50-foot buffer,
And the planning commission, per the ordinance, was allowed at that point, per the recommendation, to waive the 50-foot buffer from the principally residential.
So is that an occupied residence or unoccupied residence?
I am fairly certain it's occupied.
Okay, so they are closer than 50 feet to an occupied residence?
Well, it's from property line, so
Yeah.
from property line it is, yes.
Yeah, property line.
They share an alley,
Okay,
yes, and the
Okay.
building's further to the north of that, but
okay. All right, thank you.
no problem.
Mr. Genesee, that also, they put up a wall up there so that there's a clear separation of my.
There's actually a wall already there that was
Okay.
built by the current occupants.
Okay.
So we will verify it is 6 foot, and it's all in place. That'll be done at the site
And
committee.
we'll make sure that the wall is good. It's
Absolutely.
not one of the ones that are falling down or something. We want it
It's
to-
fairly new.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
Yes, we will make sure that building department will ensure, and the site committee will too.
Okay. Other questions from the board? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Taylor?
I move that we approve the special use permit for the marijuana retail establishment license for application 04-5, MR002 Nature's Remedy Cannabis at 26629 Plymouth Road, Redford, Michigan 48239, subject to the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission.
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Kavanaugh. So the motion is for the approval of a special use permit from the marijuana retail establishment license for applicant 04-25MR002, Nature's Remedy Cannabis at 26629 Plymouth Road, Redford, Michigan, 48239, subject to the condition recommended by the Planning Commission. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Trustee King?
No,
Clerk Sanders? No. Trustee Reese?
No.
Supervisor McCray?
Yes. So it's 3-3, right?
Correct.
Okay. So this one fails.
Can we take a 5-minute recess?
Yeah.
We can.
Please.
Okay.
yeah, we got a motion. We got a motion for recess.
Good. Can we take a recess? We got, okay, trustee.
Just a moment.
Okay.
can do that. As
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not voting, we're just.
Recess for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I just wanted,
Thank you, Trustee King.
Yeah.
So, what I would ask of the board is, I think it's really important to understand that the ability to waive the 50-foot residential setback through ordinance 152N is granted exclusively to the planning commission. And so I'd like to go into more detail. What I would recommend is that one of the individuals that voted in the negative on the motion make a motion to reconsider it so that we could then make a subsequent motion to table. And before it's brought back from the table, we will schedule a special meeting to have a closed session to go into the detail of those standards. And that's what I would hope for.
Okay. To the chair,
Trustee Reese.
motion to reconsider.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Taylor?
Are we voting on the motion to reconsider?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Reese?
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Supervisor McCray?
Yes, motion carries. And we have the same situation on the next one,
Yeah.
similar? Is that
But what
correct?
we need to do on agenda item 2
Table.
now is to make that motion to table it.
To the chair,
Trustee Reese.
I motion to table new business item 2.
Oh, it'd be three, right? Three.
Oh, is it?
Three, yeah, because the first one was a
It was
problem.
passed.
Oh, it's two. It is two.
It is?
Yes,
Items
we only did one.
2 and 3 both have waivers of the residential, and so
Okay.
we'll probably move to.
Okay, 2 and 3, okay, I apologize.
We're going to bring those back off the table today.
No,
No.
we'll have a special meeting, hold a closed session, and then we'll readdress those at the future meeting.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So number 4.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
you haven't taken a
Oh, I'm sorry.
tables.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we have to do each one separately, I assume, two,
Yes.
and then do three.
Okay, so let's vote on 2. Roll call vote on 2.
So Gabe made the
I
motion.
motioned it, I don't think it was.
I don't think it was seconded.
Yes,
No, I said support.
Okay.
this is Clerk Sanders, first one. So roll call vote on number 2.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Trustee Reese?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yeah.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Supervisor McCray?
Yes, motion carries. Now, do we have to do 3? We hadn't done that one, is that correct?
That's correct. 3 also has the same waiver of setback, and so I'd like to provide further detail on that, and so I'd recommend a motion to table at this time.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee King.
I move that we table item 3.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call vote.
All right, and then we have Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Reese?
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Supervisor McCray?
Yes, motion carries. Move on to item 4.
Mr. Supervisor, in front of you is item number, applicant MR-00.
Oh,
We tabled 2 and 3. We're on 4.
We're on
yeah, but I'm on 5.
one more.
On 5. Oh,
We're on 4.
We're on 4.
Right.
We're on 4.
006, right?
Who's on first?
So, just so you know, so the MR stands for us, for our internally is marijuana retail. That's why it's MR, so just so you know. So this is applicant MR-006,
Oh, I see. Okay.
which is for a marijuana retail establishment for applicant, and I apologize again. Paperwork is just, we have all kinds of paperwork, and I apologize.
Redford number 5.
Yeah, well, yes, it's applicant, I just want to get his name. Redford number 5, that's their name, 12950 Inkster Road. And I'm fairly positive someone from their organization is here as well. This is located in a M1 zoning district on Inkster Road. It is permitted with, currently under the township ordinance. It has met all of the criteria in regards to a retail establishment that is detailed on your buffer maps and from the letter as provided from David Allen, Planning Commission Chairperson. The Planning Commission did approve the recommendation to the Township Board for a special use permit for a marijuana retail establishment license for application 07-25, known as MR-006 to Mass Sarkeesian, also doing business as Redford Number 5 LLC. This was dependent on meeting conditions and wage trim letter dated February 17, 2025, and that they must also provide us the proof of an easement located between the two businesses. There's a business to the north, their business, and there's an easement going through, and that was discussed. There is nothing limiting between a buffer wall or setbacks of that nature on this property.
Okay, questions from the board? Hearing no questions from the board, what's the pleasure of the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Taylor.
I move that we approve the special use permit for the marijuana retail establishment license application 0725 MR-006, Redford Number 5 at 12950 Inkster Road, Redford, Michigan 48239, subject to the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission.
Support.
Support by Treasurer Kavanaugh. Motion is for approval of use of a special use permit for marijuana real estate establishment license for application 07-25 MR-006, Redford Number 5 at 12950 Inkster Road, Redford, Michigan 48239, subject to the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Trustee King.
Yes.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Reese.
No.
And Supervisor McCray.
Yes, motion carries.
To the chair. Just for clarification, I know that we talked about scheduling a special meeting to discuss these other two applicants. I know it's been a very long, arduous process for these applicants. Do we have any idea if this is going to be done at our next scheduled board meeting in April, or if we intend on doing that in between regular scheduled board meetings? So they have an idea how much longer they have to wait.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, certainly, I will make myself available whenever the board is available.
Okay.
So that's really at your discretion, and we can do it as a special meeting and then add them to the next meeting with the other applications, or it can be a
Okay.
special meeting with a
Yeah,
closed
'cause-
session, and then review at that time.
Because our next regular meeting is not for like 3 weeks, so it's not the intention to wait till the next regular board meeting then.
Well, first, the intention is to have the study session with the board, and then we can decide when that's going to happen.
Okay.
Because, yeah, so we need to do that part, so it shouldn't be long. All right, moving on to new business number 5. Mr. Dennis.
Mr. Supervisor, Honorable Board, in front of you is a memo recommending for the approval of Stacy Blue Wolverine Solutions Group out of Detroit. The said activity involves a printing, mailing of property tax and utility bills. I was working together with Treasurer Kavanaugh for the Water Department and for the tax office in regards to printing and mailing services to go outside to a third party. We prepared a RFP that went out. There were quite a few organizations that reviewed and submitted the required bids, returned back to us, actually a total of 10. And I'll let Treasurer Kavanaugh jump in here a little bit in regards to she herself and Deputy Handy, Deputy Clerk Handy, and her staff went through, and they went through all of the paperwork. And so I'll let Treasurer Kavanaugh add more to her bid.
Thank you, Director Dennis. And excuse my reading because I do get a bit nervous and I don't want to miss a lot of the information that that we put together, and like Mike said, in conjunction with my staff, Director Dennis, Director Bonarack, we all looked at this because, for one thing, this is the first time that I have done an RFP, especially with the water and the taxes. Currently, we do outsource the taxes, but I wanted to tell the board that part of this is because, well, let me read just so you guys get a sense of where I stand. The way, you may ask why we wanted to look for a printer, and in short, I would say that my staff struggled many times with the machines that printed, folded, and stuffed the bills in the envelopes. When I say struggle, it is due to the machines being very temperamental, with the temperature, humidity, and the age of the machines. Literally, the machines are in their own room with the server in a controlled environment. When technicians needed to be called to be fixed the machines, it wasn't always right away, which is happening more and more and delaying the bills going out. I came to choose one of the bidders by looking at various considerations. With help from Director Bonarack, I reviewed for overall bid submissions whether or not they had local references, which is extremely important to me because should the need arise to take or pick up items in the case of emergency, they would need to be relatively close. And the size of the companies or communities that these businesses were doing business with means that they could handle our work. So that is why I moved to approve the Wolverine Solutions Group for the contract of printing both the tax and water bills in the amount of $37,900 a year. Questions?
Is there support for this
Support.
motion? Approved by trustee Taylor. Questions from the board?
Discussion.
Yes, yes.
Does this include the cost of mailing also?
It does not include postage.
Okay.
Nope.
Other questions from the board?
To the chair,
Trustee Reese.
does this open up more time for your staff to do other meaningful work, I assume, than struggling with this printing process?
Absolutely. It takes my staff approximately 2 days on a good day.
Wow.
Other questions from the board? Hearing none. There's a motion on the floor for approval of the bid recommendation, Treasury Department printing and mailing services for property tax and utility bills to be awarded to Wolverine Solutions Group, Detroit, Michigan 48211, in the amount of $37,900. Any questions?
No.
Roll call vote.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee King,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Reese,
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCray.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Next, we have Director Bonarack.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, Honorable Board. I come before you this evening to discuss the fiscal year 2025 final budget amendments for funds 101, 103, 205, and 249. This is information that was sent to all of you yesterday afternoon based on the latest calculations that were done. And I just because, especially since we have some new board members on the board, I just want to take a minute to talk about, the overarching, budget process. It's interesting because, we begin the budget process, this budget began the process in September of 2023. And we really won't be done talking about this budget until September of 2025, when the audit report is presented to you later this fall. And one of the things that makes doing the final budget amendment difficult is that you're trying to, when you're first doing the budget projections back in September and October of 2023, right, for a budget that's going to go into effect in April of 2024, you're trying to estimate as best as you can as to what do we think is going to happen 12 to 18 months from now. Now we have this scenario where it's the end and you're seeing, well, what did everybody actually do, and did the things that we thought they were going to do actually come to fruition, and or were there new things that came up along the way? And that's usually what generates these budget amendments at the end, is the new things that came up along the way. And that is certainly the case this year. We are in a good position with our budget, which is fantastic news for us. And in the documents that I sent out, most of the changes were related to either an increase in revenue that was received due to the investment efforts of our treasurer, or it was related to grant money, specifically related to the final portion of ARPA that was expended, but also that $1.6 million SCBA grant that we received through the fire department, where we're operating as the fiscal agent for 6 different fire departments. That was not on the radar back in October of 2023 when this budget was put together. So when you're noticing in the general fund, the revenue for the general fund went up by $4 million over what was originally forecasted, but all of that is due to the $1.6 million from the SCBA grant, $800,000 from ARPA, and around another $2 million in interest revenue that came in over the course of the year. We had really anticipated that interest rates this past year were going to fall. Every indication back in September of 2023 was that the Federal Reserve would be lowering rates over the course of that time period. And while they did do some decreases, they didn't do what we had originally thought. So that's really why we had leftover funds per se. And related to that, then there were several recommendations as to what we should do with those funds. Predominantly, the recommendations that the supervisor and I are putting forward to you is that we use some of those funds to pay additional payments towards our OPEB liabilities, and that we use some of those funds as a set aside for capital expenditures. So for one thing, for example, is I am recommending that we take $500,000 from the general fund and apply it to the general employees OPEB. I'm also recommending that we take $500,000 from the Ordinance Enforcement Fund and $250,000 from Protective Inspection Fund. So that's an additional total of $1,250,000 towards our OPEB liability. That's significant because the funding level that we have to get to come out from state oversight under Public Act 202 is a 40% funding level. And as of last year's audit, we were $2.5 million short of that number. So right here, we're putting in half of that amount. And that's before we see what happens in the new valuations that are being done right now to see what has happened with both our experience study and what our investment returns have done over the last year. I'm actually really optimistic that I think we might be at that 40% threshold, which would be wonderful news, because that will mean that 2 of our 4 systems now are out from underneath oversight, and the other 2 are getting really, really close. We are recommending that we put $500,000 set aside for local roads. The county has been talking about reinitiating the local road initiative program, right, which would be going towards the roads that are not county roads. I don't feel like I'm describing it that well, but our side streets primarily, right? Secondary roadways. And we all know that there is work that needs to be done there. This was just announced within the last couple of weeks. We didn't know this was going to be on the radar. And so we're fortunate that we were able to find some funds to do this. The other thing that kind of connects to secondary roads related to that is that the state has passed a House bill creating a neighborhood road revitalization fund that should also see some more money coming into our local roads. So that's good things. We really need to repave the community center parking lot. That is a project that we've been wanting to do for a while and have been looking for a funding source. So we're recommending $225,000 for that. And finally, we have been looking for a while now. We had money set aside within the ARPA funds, and then we hired Wade Trim to do some work for us to give us some cost estimates as to what it would take to redo Elsinore Street here. So to completely reconsider the way that traffic comes in off of Beach Daily, to fix the one-way issues, to fix the parking lot, to redo all of that. Unfortunately, the estimates that came back were more costly than the money we had set aside, but with this additional amount, we'll have about 70% of what we need, so I think we're getting close. That really is the primary changes to the general fund budget, and I think they're all really good things. On the other couple of items within those I needed you to approve those other funds because we're taking money out of their fund balance. But that money is coming out of their fund balance to go towards the liability that's within those funds. I just want to make sure that Director Dennis understands that, right? But, each fund within the actuarial reports has a liability associated with that fund that's done by the actuaries. And so we're taking the money from that fund to pay that fund's liability. So we're not taking it to pay somebody else's liability. I just want to make sure that's clear. Other than that, we're in really good shape, and I'm just looking for a motion to approve the recommended final budget amendment.
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
And I'm sorry I didn't bring the article, is, on the federal level, they said something about what they're going to do with bonds. Is that going to affect anything that we have, or is that bonds in the future?
Bonds in the future.
Okay.
And bonds in the future. So hopefully for us, that isn't going to have any negative impact at all. There's talk about making them taxable. I don't really understand exactly what that will mean in the end, because it's not really revenue, so what exactly are we taxing and at what rate? But that would be horrible for the local taxpayer, because that would just increase the amount of the debt payment associated with the bond. But that's really only for future bonds.
Okay, thank you. That's good news. Kind
To
of.
the chair.
Trustee Taylor.
Adam, the roads initiative, is that going to be a match from Wayne County, or are they just basically saying, we want you to spend this much money on your secondary roads?
It has always had a matching requirement. What that matching requirement is going to be this year, we don't know for sure. I think the county is still working out all of those details.
Yes.
So when it comes to our secondary roads, I know like our primary roads, there's a list of like worst to best and like what we focus on within that time frame. Do we have an existing list like that for our secondary roads as well?
Absolutely do.
So this $500,000 that we're putting aside for our secondary roads, if you're saying we're 70% almost to Elsinore project, are we going to use for sure that whole $500,000 on other secondary roads? There's no way that we can finally pull some of that from that that's a secondary road.
So right now,
right?
what I'm really asking though within this motion is that we're really just putting this money into our capital reserves.
Okay.
And so I have some other ideas kind of cooking in my head as to where we might get the rest of the funding for the Elsinore project.
So we're just looking to put it in capital
Just put it
reserves and
aside.
figure
We will
out.
not spend anything from the capital reserves without coming back to the
Right.
board and say,
Okay.
hey, this is how we want to spend the money that you had us put aside.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board?
No?
To the chair.
Trustee Taylor.
I move that we adopt the fiscal year 2025 general fund budget amendments.
Support.
Wait, I know Adam's about to.
If I just may clarify, because when I had it put on the agenda, I thought it would only be the general fund. I really.
Oh, add the other funds?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it should be Fund 101, 103, 205, and 249.
Oh, man.
As amended.
Hold on. Now.
Here, you
101.
need them, it's at the top of that memorandum.
Yeah, here.
Those funds.
Okay.
I move to approve those funds.
Okay. Is there a second to approve those funds?
I support.
She did.
Support. Okay, so the motion is approval of the adoption of the fiscal year 2025 funds 101, 103, 205, and 249.
Correct. Final budget amendment.
Final budget amendment. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Beck?
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Trustee Reese?
Yes.
Supervisor McCray?
Yes, motion carries. All right, thank you, Director Bonnerat. Director Mancini.
Good evening, Honorable Board. I come before you tonight to request the approval of the Downtown Development Authority bid recommendation for the 5 Mile Beach Daily Streetscapes, Rose Garden Town Hall Complex, and Marquee Maintenance Contract for lawn. We put this out as an RFP. We received two bids. The third interested party did decline to bid. The lowest bid was Parrot Landscaping out of Clinton Township, and that bid came in at $19,153.99. I love it when they do that. The other bid that we received was like $41,255. I have presented this to the DDA board. They did approve it, and that I come to you.
Questions from the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
Director Mancini, does this cover is there cleaning of the sidewalk areas along the 5-mile Beach Daily corridor, or is that not included in this?
So this bid would include all the landscaping as far as grass cutting along the DDA in the right-of-way, all the areas around the Marquee, Town Hall, the court. It does include the maintenance of all the bedding along 5 Mile in Beach Daily. It's putting mulch around the trees, emptying the garbage cans, all that sort of stuff. There are some additional things that come up over the course of the year that are separate and detailed in the contract as needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't directly contain, for example, at 5 and Beach, when there's lots of gravel and glass debris hitting on the sidewalks.
So we do have in the bid package an itemized list where they tell us what the pricing would be if we call them for that type of work. But it's not, we don't put it in the contract because, we could be paying for it every week and we only maybe need it a couple times a year.
Makes sense. Thank you.
To the chair.
Trustee Taylor.
Director Mancini, could you request of Parrot Landscaping that they do not pull out our milkweed
I will make sure.
at Town Hall? I will have a cow if that happens again this
I
year.
will make sure. So
Between me and Kathy, we'll be watching them.
So
They've got a
Parrot
camera on it.
Landscaping is a little bit better with the actual
The
landscaping
natural
portion. Yeah,
thing.
so I think
Appreciate
they
it.
know better, but I will make sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
I move to approve the bid recommendation, Downtown Development Authority, DDA, Beach Daily 5 Mile Landscape, Rose Garden, Town Hall Complex, and Marquee Landscape Maintenance Contract be awarded to Parrot Landscaping LLC, Clinton Township, Michigan 48035, in the amount of $19,153.99 to be paid from the DDA Tax Increment Financing Funds.
Support.
Support by Clerk Sanders. The motion is to approve the bid recommendation of Downtown Development Authority, DDA, Beach Daily and 5 Mile Streetscape, Rose Garden, Town Hall Complex, Marquee Landscape Maintenance Contract be awarded to Parrot Landscaping LLC, Clinton Township, Michigan 48035 in the amount of $19,153.99 to be paid from the Downtown Development Authority Tax Increment Financing TIF funds. Any other questions? Roll call vote.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Reese?
Yes.
Supervisor McCray?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Mansfield, you are on.
I'm on. Good
Yes,
evening,
ma'am.
Honorable Board. How are you today?
Good.
Excellent. Today, I am coming before you for the approval of our flock safety contract. For those of you that are newer to the board and may not remember, this is our license plate reader cameras and some of our security cameras that the police department utilizes for investigative tools. I spoke about it during my annual report, how we have already made numerous arrests utilizing this system, as well as brought back a couple $100,000 in stolen property. I'm excited we're expanding this project with your approval. We currently have 6 still license plate reader cameras. I'm looking to add 3 more. But what's also really cool is I am looking to add 2 live video cameras to this system. And basically what that means is, no, they're not going to be monitored 24/7 because I don't have the staff for that. But when something happens, I will be able to pull these cameras up and actually watch live in these particular areas, zooming in, zooming out, in order to be able to assist responding officers in knowing what they're walking into, as well as collecting data. So this is really exciting. This particular contract has already been approved by Director Bonerack for the next fiscal year. I'm only here a little bit ahead of time so I can get some of the permits moving. So what I'm looking for is the request of the approval for our contract with Flock Safety in the amount of $41,550 from the 25-26 fiscal year budget.
Questions from the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
Chief, the two video cameras, where would those be located?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that question.
Are they movable, I guess is what I'm
No,
saying?
they are not movable, but I will tell you, Captain Burris did a ton of work on this project. He did excellent work. He actually brokered us a really good deal. We're actually using solar now and for at least the two live video instead of electricity, and he brokered the deal down to break even to what the electrical was. So he did great work on that, so we're getting an even bigger bonus on this one.
Good deal.
And then one more question for you.
Yes.
The service contract portion, it talks about the network. So there's flock systems in other communities that are
Across the country.
across the country. And
By,
so,
yes, by keeping our subscription levels to where they're at now with the addition of these cameras, we actually will have access to over 9,000 cameras across the country.
okay.
So that's, the reach is immeasurable, and the activity that we have been able to already pick up on and track our suspects. And to be fair, other communities have been able to track suspects here as well, using our system. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Am I to understand the contract is a 2-year?
It's an annual.
Annual,
Yeah,
okay.
there's always an annual for the subscription fees. The subscription fees, like any other technology, is where they get you these days. And to be fair, that's what's giving us continued access to all of the other communities' cameras. Otherwise, we'll be limited to just our own.
Okay. It's just that I got from the order form, it said 24 months. That's why I asked you if it was 2 years. Okay.
They wanted to list what it will be next year.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
I see.
Other questions from the board? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
I move approval of the contract with Flock Safety for the renewal of 6 current Flock cameras, 3 additional Flock cameras, and 2 Condor cameras in the amount of $41,550.
Support.
Oh, my.
Support by Treasurer Kavanaugh. Okay, so the motion is to approve the contract with Flock Safety for renewal of 6 current Flock cameras, 3 additional Flock cameras, and 2 Condor cameras in the amount of $41,550. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Reese.
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Trustee King.
Yes.
Trustee Jackson, absent. Supervisor McCray.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Good job, Jane. All right, we move on to item number 9. Trustee Taylor.
Thank you, Supervisor McCray. This is a request to appoint a new member to our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. Ms. Patricia Van Dusen sought us out, which was exciting. She wasn't able to be here tonight. You did receive her letter of interest. One of the things that I appreciate the most is not only her experience with diversity, equity, and inclusion in other communities, but that she is a fairly new resident, that she just moved here, I believe, in 2024, and is already wanting to hit the ground running and volunteering in something that means something to her. So with that, I would request that the board appoint Patricia Van Dusen to the Red River Township Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission with her term expiring 3/25/27.
To the chair.
Trustee Sanders.
I move to appoint the appointment of Patricia Van Duzen to the Redford Township Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, term expiring in 3/25/2027.
Support.
Supported by trustee Taylor. So the motion on the floor is the appointment of Patricia Van Duzen to the Redford Township Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, term expiring 3/25/2027. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Announcements from the board. So apparently, we're having a quiet announcement period tonight. I just want to say, I appreciate everybody being here tonight as we go through this process with marijuana and all the other things that are going on here in Redford Township. It may seem a little scrambled at the beginning, but we want to make sure we get it right. So please bear with us. We have the best for the township in mind. So since there's no other business, no other announcements, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.